Hey everyone, welcome back to the Be Studio, and today I'm here to review Toy Story 5, the fifth film in the Toy Story franchise. Yes, it's still going, and they released the fifth movie, and I figured why not go see it. I've watched all the other ones, and I enjoy Toy Story a lot. And I gotta admit, though, when I heard that they were making a Toy Story 5, let's just say I was very concerned about it, considering I thought Toy Story 4 was not a really necessary film at all, except for getting Woody and Bo Peep together and resolving that whole ordeal. And I mean, I guess Forky was like a funny character, but beyond that, just Toy Story 4 wasn't my favorite. So I was mixed on Toy Story 5 after hearing about it, but I think they did a really good job with the movie, even though I gotta admit it just doesn't feel like Toy Story. It just feels so different from the original three. And Toy Story 4 and 5 have the problem where they focus solely on like one or two or three characters and they leave kind of everyone else behind. The first three movies did a really good job at kind of involving all of the toys into the storyline, especially Toy Story 3, which is why that one was my favorite because we saw the whole daycare storyline with all the toys in it. That one was my favorite just for the community aspect, the collaboration, the group dynamics, all of that. And Toy Story 4 was obviously a letdown because it was mostly a Woody solo film. And now Toy Story 5 is mostly a Jesse solo film, but Buzz and Woody do have some involvement in it. But it's mostly focused on Jesse, which I think makes a lot of sense. I think Buzz has had his fair share of time. He's had his own Lightyear show too, or movie. I don't really know. I just know that there was a Lightyear thing. And of course, Woody's gotten plenty of screen time. So I think it made sense for Jessie to become the main character for this film. And it worked out pretty well, tying into her abandonment issues with Emily, tying back into her fear of being abandoned by Bonnie, considering technology and all of that. And I think they did a really good job portraying how much technology has taken over. Now, it's just an interesting watch because just finished my freshman year at college. And really, my generation, I was talking with my friend after we saw it, was like one of the last ones that didn't grow up with constant technology. We still grew up mostly just playing outside or playing with friends. I mean, we had iPads, but we weren't addicted to them. We didn't have group chats. Honestly, the only thing we could do was play games on them. But we really had no way of communicating with people per se, unless we just borrowed our parents' phone, that was really the only way we could communicate to like talk to our friends' parents to see if we could play together. But I mean, nowadays that's changed so much, and they definitely like make fun of that as to how kids have become so obsessed with technology and how that's completely taken away from their face-to-face interactions. I mean, every time I go over to the neighbor's house to see the kid, like a couple younger kids, they're always on their devices. Almost always. It's hard to get them to go outside and actually play a game. And I grew up playing outside mostly or playing inside with people, but not really on my device. I mean, I remember playing like Temple Run, Subway Surfers, those type of games, but beyond that, I just always just socialize with people. And it's just so weird how times have changed. I thought they portrayed that extremely well in this movie while also dealing with bullying, cyberbullying especially. And I think that's something that everyone has dealt with at time. And I thought the movie was really well done with the message, and in some ways it felt like they continued on the success of Inside Out 2, which was a really well done movie, really well received, focused on Riley growing up, all the emotions going with it. And then you have Bonnie, who I really feel like her storyline is very similar to Riley's in Inside Out 2. You have these outside factors, aka the toys, or I mean, more so the devices controlling Bonnie, not directly but indirectly. Inside Out 2, you have the emotions controlling Riley directly, and it's a very interesting parallel. And I still think Inside Out did it better. I think Inside Out 2 was definitely better than Toy Story 5, but Toy Story 5 for what it was handled the message really well. I think it would have hit even harder had I been like a few years younger, even 5 years younger. But I think being an adult and seeing the movie play out, I think was really special in a way that kids just wouldn't really understand. It's like even after the kids next door saw the movie, they still are on their devices. They obviously didn't take anything from that. And I mean, it's not supposed to. It's more supposed to be geared towards adults. Let's be honest. It's a movie geared towards adults. And it works really well for that reason, just to see how kids have come this far with devices and how much time they spent with them. So I thought, and the adults I think really enjoyed it in the theater that I watched more so than the kids. And with the kids, they made up for it with all of the potty humor, all of it. There was a lot of it, especially with Mr. or Smarty Pants or whatever the potty training device. Now I gotta admit, I was not a big fan of the side quest with Jesse and these devices. I just did not care for the devices. They were annoying. I mean, Lily Pad reminded me a lot of Anxiety from Inside Out too. Very much a lot of parallels there. And yeah, the devices were it was just a bit too much toilet humor for me. It's like, I know you have to appeal to kids as well, but it just kind of got old. I think they could have toned back on that a lot. I think the devices were probably the cringiest part of my least favorite part, but I think it all made up for it with the impact of Jesse's storyline and how much she wants Bonnie to make a friend. Now, the movie feels very different. It's like, the first movie you had Woody and Buzz, working together. The second movie you had them saving Woody from Al. The third movie they're trying to break out of a daycare. The fourth movie Woody has his own plot of saving Forky. And then this movie is just a very different. It's a way more simple concept. It's not like a high stakes plot per se. I mean, it does end up having some action in it, but the core concept's not about saving someone. In that way, it's kind of similar to the first movie where, you have different people, working together and learning to work together. And in this movie, you have, someone trying to get someone to make a friend. And in some ways, that's kind of nice that they went full circle there with a more realistic plot line, a good message, not kind of what some of the other movies did. Now, don't get me wrong. The first three Toy Story movies were a masterpiece. If I had to pick one, it would definitely be Toy Story 3. I think that one was my favorite of them. But I honestly enjoyed all three of them. And I also enjoyed Toy Story 4 and 5 for what they were. I'd just say Toy Story 4 was my least favorite. And Toy Story 5 definitely blew me away in more ways than one. Like I've been talking about, the message was really good. The Jesse and Buzz, the whole thing with him like planning to propose was really sweet. And then they kissed. We got a kiss. I mean, the fourth movie really focused on Woody and Bo Peep's relationship, so it just made sense that this movie would kind of give Buzz and Jesse what they've been waiting for. And of course, they get married at the end. So definitely a lot of fan service to Jesse's character and then Buzz and Jesse. And I was so confused with the side plot of all the Buzzes and the Star Command for a good chunk of the movie. I'm like, where the heck is this going? And then it all made sense by the end. And of course, that final scene at the playground was pretty funny. So, yeah, I would say I do have some complaints about this. And it's a kind of a continuation in Toy Story 4 is how the main group of toys is just underused. You have really the only ones that have even somewhat of a role are Woody, Buzz, Jesse, and then Bullseye's in there too as Jesse's sidekick, which I did like the Jesse and Bullseye moments. Those were very sweet, him being there for her. But they gave way more screen time to this new set of toys, the devices. And while I do understand why they did that, it just felt like we were missing something. We were missing the old toys. We were missing Rex. We were missing Trixie. We were missing the Potato Heads. And we just didn't get those moments that we really liked from the first three movies. And it was just a bummer because I was really hoping that we would kind of see everyone working together again, but we really only saw a few characters. And I guess I kind of understand why they did it, because the whole point of the movie is about Bonnie moving on from toys, or thinking she needs to move on from toys to, mature, whatnot, make herself appear older. So that's why she moves towards this device that ends up being wrong for her. But at the end of the day, she realizes that her toys are as important as well. They're just as important as the devices, and more important, if we're being honest. But then at the end of the day, she can have both worlds. She can have a friend that she meets in Blaze, and she can have her toys too. And, in Inside Out too, Riley can have, her friends. She can be a good person. She can have the emotions, that come with being a teenager, but she can also have the normal emotions too. The core emotions, anger, joy, sadness, fear, and disgust. You can still have those as well, and then you can also have anxiety and embarrassment and envy. You could those all work together. And in Toy Story, you can have both. You can play with your toys and you can have friends. And I mean, I do remember playing toys with people and having that best of both worlds. Now, you that's kind of what you did back in the day. I say back in the day, that was like 15 years ago for me, but you play with toys with your friends. That's just kind of how you played, or you played outside. And nowadays it's like almost like a shocker, and they make fun of that throughout the movie. It's like these devices being so shocked that Bonnie and Jesse still play together. It's like, we've been abandoned for so many years. Like, no fair that you still got to have playtime with her. It's just kind of sad to see that kids are so consumed with their devices. And not saying that social media, I would say, is more bad than good. But like, devices in general, they're good. You should be able to communicate with your friends and make friends, but there's just a lot of bad to social media. Now, they didn't really go into social media. They just kind of stayed with the lily pad and friendships that way. And that was probably a good thing that they didn't go too deep into it, especially because if they have another Toy Story movie, there's a lot of material they can work with. And I think for Bonnie's arc, I think it was a movie about her, and I really like that they focused on a human and not just about the toys, and how Jessie and how it worked into her past owner Emily's storyline and that storyline, and then Bonnie's storyline. I thought it was really well done how that all got tied together. So, although I think it didn't feel like Toy Story, they went the inside out route and made it a more relatable story, focusing on abandonment issues and all of that. So I think they did a really good job with the movie, even if it didn't fully feel like a Toy Story movie, but it was a much needed movie. We need more movies like this with good messages. It's why I enjoyed Inside Out 2 so much. We need more movies like that. And Toy Story 5 was a good addition. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get much Bo Peep screen time, barely any. And I guess it was just to make up for how her and Woody had such a big role in Toy Story 4. And now we just, they have to like backtrack on them to put Buzz and Jesse, especially Jesse, in the forefront. I think the ending with Jesse realizing that Emily named her kid after her was a really, really touching moment. And then the end, seeing Buzz and Jesse get married while Blaze and Bonnie play together. It was like a perfect ending. It was a perfect ending, and it goes right into a Taylor Swift song in the credits, and it was a really, really nice ending. And I thought Taylor's song worked perfectly for the movie and for the message of the movie. You just don't know how much you need someone until you feel like you're losing them, and then you realize, I can't lose you. You're that important to me. And it was a really, really good message. And I think I liked it more than I didn't like it. And the only things I didn't like about the movie were some of the things with the devices. Some of the toilet humor was a bit too much, and just not seeing all of our favorite toys involved. I think, but beyond that, I had a really good message, really good writing, really good character development, and a lot better than Toy Story 4, but it's not as good as the first three Toy Stories. I think if they had stuck with the core group and and all of that, I think this could have been in competition with the first three, or at least more similar, but it just wasn't. And I think that's okay. And obviously you can't keep the same formula after 30 years, because the first movie came out in 1995. You can't keep the same formula. You have to switch things up. And they're clearly switching things up. And this movie showed that they're switching things up for the better. So overall, I'm happy with the direction that they took. And I definitely think they could do more Toy Story movies. If they want to do one more Bonnie movie, then maybe they'll move on to someone else. It's hard to say, but I don't see this going past 6 movies. I think they might do one more and then call it wraps. And this could be the final one too. And honestly, this was a really good ending, seeing Buzz and Jesse together, Bonnie have a friend. I would be fine if this was the final film, and I would have been fine if Toy Story 3 was the final film. I would have been fine if Toy Story 4 was the final film, although this was a much better ending than Toy Story 4, I thought. It was a really, really nice ending. And of course, having Taylor sing during the end credits was like the cherry on top. But that's kind of my thoughts on the movie. It scaled back screen time from some of our favorite characters. Woody didn't have a whole lot to do, although the jokes about him gaining weight and having the bald spot were pretty funny. I did enjoy those scenes where the toys were picking on him. That felt like the OG Toy Story to me. But we just don't have a lot of screen time from Woody or from Bo Peep or from just any of the toys in general. I mean, they give Buzz and Jesse a lot to do, and they give these new devices a lot to do. But I mean, at the end of the day, the most important thing was that Jesse and Bonnie connection, and they did a really, really good job with it. So, but I think I'm good here with the movie. I talked about it for 15 minutes. But let me know down below, what did you think of the fifth movie and how did it stack up to the previous four? Did you like it just as well? I mean, I would to assume that this isn't gonna be people's favorite Toy Story movie, many people's favorites, but I think the general consensus I've seen is that it's better than four. So, and you can only go up from there. So yeah, there's that for you, and I really like the Forky's bits too, and him and Knifey getting married, Karen Beverly. I thought those were some really funny bits as well. So yeah, comment down below what you think of the movie, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye everyone.